What we're going to talk about today are power steering pumps. The pump that we have apart for you to peruse today is an older, what I call an older KSE blue and silver pump. And now they have the black and silver, and they actually have two different models of the black and silver as far as that goes. But this pump right here is your good old standard pump that's been around for a long time now. And while you can see that the pumps are very simple as far as there's not a lot of moving parts and everything, there's a lot of detail, measurement, and clearances that are super important to the overall performance and longevity of the pump. This particular pump right here that we just took apart and cleaned the components up, we found that right off the bat, he got really lucky, this customer did, that he didn't have a major catastrophic failure. This gear is cracked right out of the keyway. It runs up out of there, across the back, and back down inside this side of the keyway. I've seen these where they do finally separate all the way and then lock this up, mess the fuel pump up, just all kind of catastrophic problems can derive from that little bit of a failure. Now on these pumps right here, the first thing we do is we inspect all the mating surfaces and all of the areas where the gears ride to make sure that everything is capable of being brought up to snuff and making sure that it is a good usable part. The gears, what we do on these are we mic the gear width, then we clean them up, make sure that everything's fine. Then when we go back with the bearing section here, you have this bore right here, and this bearing, the new bearing, but this bearing right here was spinning in the housing. And we have a couple repairs we can do for that, but we get it to where the bearing isn't spinning in the housing, and we also make sure that the bore for the seal is correct. Also, one thing a lot of people, I've seen a few guys that rebuild their own pumps and stuff, aren't aware of, is your side clearances overall on the gear inside the housing is extremely tight. We're only talking tenths of thousandths. And once the side clearance gets up to 1,000th, it's already too big and cannot make the adequate line pressure that the pump is required to make. Tenths of thousandths are, as you know, just dust. So for the most part, whenever you're doing all of your clearancing and getting the gears correct and the housing depth correct and everything, you're doing what I call lapping parts in. And what we have is we have sandpaper on a granite surface plate, and we're moving just dust basically and getting them down to the absolute best clearances that are for performance and durability. The one thing about these little pumps is they're very temperature sensitive too. So we make them pretty tight on the clearances, so when you fire your car up to get heat in the engine, it's equally important that you get the power steering system warmed up also. The fluid level is very critical, especially in the Gen 2 steering gears. Make sure that it's at your top line on your dipstick.